Yeah, is that a camera?
Yes, thank you. So nice. It's nice to connect. It's nice to, you know, do stuff that most people don't get to do during the day. Now, if you've got a cell phone, could you put it on silent or vibrate or off? Thank you, just in case. Very good. So thank you. Folks, keep eating if you need to eat. Is it okay if I share a little bit about myself? Yeah. Is that okay? Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. I come from a land called New Zealand. My ancestors called it Nuterini or Aotearoa, and it's this tiny little nation down in the South Pacific, but we punch above our weight globally. And so I was brought up here, and I was brought up in the bush actually, and I never knew what shoes were until my first day of school. And my mum said, put these things on, and they didn't feel good. So you can imagine that really miffed me there and then. And then as I was walking out of the house with my brothers and sisters taking me to this place, I had no idea where I was going. It was a full solar eclipse, and morning turned to night, pitch black. So that was my introduction to my first day at school. And as I got there, you know what? I'm a rebel. I was brought up in the bush, and that's my place. And I remember the first day I was 5. I said, "There's not much I can do about this." My dad had passed away. My mum was looking after raising 4 children. I didn't really have an opportunity to do anything about it. But I said to myself there and then, I said, I don't belong here. I could only see like 2 or 3 of my own race in this school. And I made a decision there and then that I'll do my very best, but that I did not belong there, and that was not me. So fast track forward to college, total rebel, still defying everything, playing hooky, doing anything. I was the guy that used to, you know, the marathons, right? You know, anyone run a marathon at college? Yeah? Yeah, well, I'd have my mate with his car about 5 minutes up the road. And we, in the car, go right around the other side, and about 5 minutes before the finish, beat through the thing, get some dirt, like this, and then wait till a few people, and out we go, and so, you know, that carried on, and it carried on into my corporate life. I actually, in our country, it's the equivalent of what, a graduate or something like that. You either get accredited if you're nice and good, or you have to sit the exams. Well, guess which one I had to do. Right? And much to the chagrin of 2 of my teachers, I actually passed. I actually ended up getting the highest mark in one of my subjects in the country. And so that was like, and I left there. I said, no, I'm not going to university or anything like that. I'm going to work. And I woke up really, literally, my life. Fast forward to when I was, I think it was about 30, mid-30s, 40s. And I was in a corporate building. I looked outside, and it struck me. I remembered all that stuff about school, and I automatically thought, what am I doing in this? Why aren't I out there? Has anyone ever thought that? Yeah. Working? Anyone? No. And that really bugged me. And I thought, well, I wasn't trained in business education, financial literacy, emotional literacy. I had no idea. So I never even considered that I could do anything else, right? And yet here I was stuck in this thing. I had no idea, but it really miffed me. Then lo and behold, I ended up meeting a lady, my son's mum, and we left corporate, and right at that same time I was introduced to this opportunity that we're going to share with you about tonight. And it sort of meant all those things that I've been looking for. I didn't know it at the time, but it's been the most fantastic, incredible, challenging, emotionally pummeling, difficult, dissing, but super empowering opportunity that I've ever been introduced to. And I cannot see myself doing anything else. And it's called network marketing. So that's a little bit about myself. And what you're going to hear tonight is about LifeForce, about a few of our products, life-changing products, and how they can benefit you, hello, and your family, people you care about. And you're also going to hear about an incredible business opportunity. That's global opportunity, and if you really like this, how you can actually come and join us. Yeah. So tonight we're very fortunate. It doesn't look like it, but in this room there are some very, 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 very influential, significant industry leaders, wealthy people. And we have a gentleman that I'm going to introduce who has been paid $125,000 for 15 minutes of his time. So has anyone got a stopwatch?
You taking donations?
So tonight we're privileged to access David Colister, glean some of his insights, his wisdom around what it is that he's doing. And I'm going to introduce and formally bring him up later, but now I would like to also acknowledge and welcome up our top producer in LifeForce International. I consider him a brother, a dear friend, a mentor, highly generous. He's a philanthropist, he's a visionary, he's a leader. If you know him, you have to get ready to run if you want to just chill by his side, because this man rolls big, and he rolls big in such a heartfelt, beautiful way. So he's going to be sharing a little bit about everything, and in particular our vision around transforming this planet. So please welcome up Michael Jude.
Thanks, Cliff. Some of you probably heard this before, but I'd love to be the person my dog thinks I am. And not that, no disrespect at all, but I'm a guy, right? And like Cliff, I had an interesting beginning. I'll say colorful and leave a lot of it there. But my life has been about freedom. I've been on a quest for freedom, and true wealth. Which, yeah, money's part of it, but true wealth is about contribution for me. And it's about having a life that I love. It's about having health. It's about having time. And of course, the money to enjoy during that time, the time to enjoy the money. But as a musician, I was sharing with Chip earlier, I love playing music. I played rock and roll, right? So I was a rock and roll musician for a number of years professionally. But I didn't find the freedom I was looking for. I didn't find the contribution. I love playing music. I love entertaining people, but I don't know, in 3.5 minutes, I didn't quite get too deep into making a difference with people, other than, entertainment, and that was fine. So, being an extreme personality, maybe, I don't know, I switched over to corporate America, and was fairly successful there, and made a difference, but not the kind of difference I was liking to make. It was, I don't know, it was a tough go. It was kind of soulless for me. It didn't have a lot of joy. It didn't have a lot of contribution, like on a personal level. So fast forward, and one of the beautiful things about this industry is that I do get the time. My wife and I have a lifestyle we couldn't even dream of before. We were not born with a silver spoon or even a plastic spoon. We were both, what you'd call either lower class or lower middle class. Humble beginnings. But now what we find is that we own the rest of our lives. We never have to work again. As a matter of fact, we're able to contribute to causes and people and invest in the things we believe in, and we're able to give more probably in a month than maybe people make in, we're able to do a lot of it. Let me just leave it at that. We're able to contribute a lot where it makes a difference. See, our needs are handled. We got that piece done. That's no longer an issue. And now we can live for the joy of living. And we can do the things we choose to do. So I don't know if that's attractive to you or not, but I want to talk a little bit about the mission of this company. And this company is about making a difference. It's about making a difference in us individually by providing us an access to world-class personal development and professional training. And one thing I know is wealth follows consciousness, and wealth follows those that attract it in a certain way. And the way for me, and maybe not for you, is by being a more whole and more healthy human being. I find the more whole and healthy I become, the more I attract time, experiences, people, money, and all the wonderful things that I enjoy in life. So it's about uplifting myself, first of all. There's an old saying, if you're in a village and you've got an empty plate, then you're a burden on the community because people have to feed you. But if you're in a community and you have an overflowing plate, you can feed many, right? So I believe that it's our duty to become wealthy people. I've met, I think, all of you at this point in the room. I don't get that there's any bad people here. I don't get bad people that even be attracted to this. What I know is that as people become empowered through time and money, they become more of who they are. And I've found that the people in this room, some of these leaders who have made a commitment and succeeded here, have become magnificent in their wealth. So I trust that that's what's up. Now, I don't know why you're attracted here, but I want to just offer you access to this company and this organization. The company's mission statement is empowering human potential. And again, that's through, first of all, empowering us individually, but then offering us an opportunity to contribute to the world, to contribute out to others. Now, I don't say that in an empty or trite way. Let me explain what I mean, because I'm a businessman. You know, I love business, I love commerce, I love the marketplace, and I love that it's lifted in just in the last maybe 10, 15 years, we've lifted probably 2 billion people out of extreme poverty worldwide because of the marketplace. Marketplace gives us all these things that we enjoy in life. But I believe there's something called conscious commerce, or some people would say sacred commerce. And that's different than exploitation. As a matter of fact, it's the other end of the spectrum. It's about creating wealth through service, through serving others, through contributing to others. And I believe that's the new paradigm. That's the way the world is going. You know, if you look around, it's no secret. Industries are crumbling, countries are at risk, currencies are failing. Stuff's changing, guys. Stuff is changing. And it's tough out there. It's really, really tough. People are losing their homes, they're losing their jobs, they're losing their hope, even more importantly. Perhaps they're losing their dignity, the way they could provide for their families. It's tough. But there's a golden ray in all this. I believe what we're doing is clearing the decks for the new economy. And the new economy has very different benefits to give us. It is about time, it's about choice, and it's about empowerment. Just this thing called the web has super empowered each of us in ways our parents couldn't even imagine. It's shifted life on the planet. Well, along with these new technologies and these new communication and access comes a new economy. And we are solidly positioned on the front of the new economy. The new economy is about contribution, it's about service, it's about making a difference in other people's lives with products like these, with an opportunity like this, with world-class personal and professional development. And that is what this company is about. One of the reasons I'm proud to be with Lifeforce is, having been in the business world for many years, I'm probably a little bit older than I appear, right? and I owe that to these products. One of the things that I've discovered is that the mission of the company, if the company is about empowering humans, empowering people, then it's a great place to work for me. Not everybody's gig, but I've been in companies, and maybe you have too, and maybe you know companies that are about the dollar at the expense of human beings. Now, I know in the corporate world, it's about a profit. They owe it to the shareholders. However, I believe there's a fundamental flaw in that model. If profits are made on the backs of people. Profits are made at your expense. You know, when I look around the world, it's tough, and it's tough for a reason. It's not tough because people have hard hearts. It's tough because the systems and the structures have hardened some of the opportunity out there. And it's created this thing that I believe is oppressing human spirit. It's not enabling and ennobling. It's created chaos, it's created pain and suffering, and it's created the current economic crisis that we're in. Now, I'm not suggesting that that's something some group of people somewhere decided they're going to make life hard. I'm saying there's a structural flaw in that, and it's probably affected every one of us in the choices that we make or don't make in our lives. The lack of money is an epidemic around the world. It limited the choices for me of what I could eat, where I could live, how I spend my time, what I could drive, who I could associate with, what my opportunities were or weren't. It dominated my thinking. It dominated my thinking. My family, I'm not trying to be sexist about it, but as a man, I feel responsible for providing for my child and my wife. And it was tough. It was a trade-off between my dignity or making a buck. And that was unsatisfactory. That's not acceptable. And you don't have to settle for that either. There is another way, folks. There's another way with dignity, and it's based in contribution and service. And it offers you unlimited freedom and unlimited wealth. So if anything I've said is of interest, I encourage you to listen very carefully tonight. Because one thing I know, when I was in that machine and I was getting ground up and spit out and old before my time, I didn't have access. I didn't have a way out. Everybody I knew was in the same sort of place. And what I would say to you tonight is if you see that somebody's offering you access and it looks interesting, grab it. Grab it. My dad, who I love very dearly, is 90. He gives me some very sage advice. I said, Dad, do you ever think you'd have a son that's 60 years old? He said, no, I didn't. And if I'd known I would be this old, I would have lived my life differently. He said, do not settle. Do not settle. It goes by way too fast. He said, you grab it and you go with it. So if there's anything I can do to serve you, I'll be available later. Clip back with you.
Beautiful. Very grateful to have this man as a friend and mentor. Thank you for everything you do, Michael. So you've heard a little bit about our products, and we're going to go into those a little bit later. BeNEW, the hottest weight management program on the planet, full stop. And there's people out there, what was it, the latest statistic, 39% of Americans are clinically obese. 69% are overweight, adults, overweight. It is an epidemic. People are dying every single minute of the day from highly preventable causes. This program here delivers an opportunity to turn their lives around, to transform their bodies and transform their lives. This is a new concept in weight management. It's turning the tables on obesity worldwide, and it's such a gift. This here is Body Balance. You'll hear a little bit more about it, our foundational product. It's almost 30 years old, folks. It's been time proven. I've been drinking this for 14 years now, literally daily. I will not do without it. You're going to hear more about the products, how you can purchase them, and also how you can join our community. What I would like to do now is invite our guest, who I mentioned before. You got the stop clock going? And serious, somebody, go on, dare you. What can I say about David Colister? He's such a gift. He's such a gift to our community. I've said this publicly, I'll say it again, I believe it's divinely orchestrated. And David brings a wealth of experience in our industry, the network marketing industry, nearly 30 years tenure in the industry. He is recognized as a fast growth strategist. He's a philosopher of multi-level marketing. In fact, I sort of consider him either between a Socrates and a Plato, or a bit of both. And he's also a master storyteller. And he has been behind the sales of 3 companies in particular. He's helped each of those companies go to billion-dollar-plus companies. In total, $5 billion in sales. And it's his genius and his gifts that are behind that growth. And now he's partnered, he's come in, he's joined us. And so please give David Colister a very warm welcome.
Wow, Cliff, I love this man. He's one of my newest best friends. We've been hanging out a lot together for the last couple of months. They invited me to Australia about maybe, 2 months ago?
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, time's going by fast, as Michael said. And Michael's become one of my closest and dearest friends. Thank you, brother, for he's our top money earner in this company, and he's here hanging out with everybody and graciously gives me access to his many thousands of people around the world to do whatever it is I do. And I gotta tell you, I don't know what the heck I do. And those of you who spent some time with me at events, you know that I'm not exaggerating. I have no clue what I'm doing half the time. You know, I'm the son of factory workers in Lansing, Michigan, automotive people, and did horrible in school. I almost jokingly say I was the kind of kid that most decent parents pray their kid never meets. I was that kid, really. And most of the kids in school prayed that they never had a chance to meet me in a dark alley. I was just not a good kid, and I think I had a fairly decent heart. Wonderful, honest parents. I've never heard my parents or aunts or uncles, any of them, grandparents, ever tell a lie, ever. I think all of that pent-up lying fell into my genes. I was a masterful liar long before I was a masterful storyteller. And, you know, I had a profound spiritual experience when I was 17 that turned me away from that way of life, and had a very interesting man by the name of Dr. Richard Murphy take me under his wings, an African-American pastor, and he has 9 doctoral degrees and is a martial artist, and probably the humblest and kindest man I think I've ever met in the world. Just how I ended up in his care, I don't know, but without him I wouldn't be here today. I certainly know that. And when I was a janitor at a hospital at the age of, what was I, 20? I'm 51 now. I was an art school student, Bible school student, and pushing a broom, just as happy as I could be to push a broom in a hospital. I had a job. I was making, I think, maybe $5 an hour. No, it wasn't even that. $3.75 an hour. And I thought that was great, you know, because that beat the $1.50 I was making at the previous job. And I was just happy, and all these doctors and young interns with, you know, recent college graduates were, you know, looking at me and thinking, you know, I could just feel they talked down to me. They, you know, just got a kick out of telling me what to do. This kid in a blue janitor's uniform pushing a mop around the rooms. But man, I had so much fun. You know, while they were being all serious, I'd invite all the nurses and stuff to come down to my little echo room where I cleaned the gurneys. And I would sing and do little concerts in there every day. You know, they'd wonder, where are our nurses at? Oh, they're all down listening to that kid that smiles all the time and pushes the broom. And I think that made the young doctors even more mad. For 2 reasons. But anyway, so I was just, you know, and I didn't realize until I was almost 50 years old that this condition that I have, this gift, if you will, was called adult attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. And so I had a hard time memorizing things and learning things. And, you know, I probably read between 3 and 10 books a week, and I'm looking to get it up to about 25. That sounds impressive, but when you realize how many times I have to read a book over and over again just to get a tenth of what you get out of it, you go, God, you are really messed up, David. But I had these incredible mentors in this industry, people like Michael when I was a kid that just took me under their wing, and I was so eager to learn. I just had a voracious appetite for knowledge, and wisdom more importantly than knowledge even. I wanted wisdom. And I didn't want to know what worked, I wanted to know why it worked. And they were so patient with me. And I didn't produce, Cliff, for years and years, 10 years. I never made a lot of money in this industry. Sometimes I'd make a living. Most of the time, I did it just to support my habit, which was ministry at the time. And I was a minister for 25 years. I still consider myself a servant. That's what ministry means, right? I just do it in a different venue. My church is the world, and it's hanging out with people and, you know, just doing whatever I can do, regardless of their faith, to just help them kind of find a better way to live, you know, and feel happier and do crazy things, right? I mean, to help people get there. I play a lot. I tell people I get paid to play. And so people call me an executive coach. What I do for companies is I go in and I work with the owners and the executives and the top producers, and I have the opportunity and their trust to kind of get inside their heads and play, and they trust that my play will result in help and growth in the company. And so far my playground has done quite well, but I'll be honest with you, anybody in here, have you ever gone or ever been in a place, or maybe you're there now, where you don't like network marketing? You can go ahead and confess your sins. Thank you very much. Oh, but I tell you, I've hated it so many times, and I'm a professional. I make a lot of money doing it, and I've hated it because I've seen some of the worst people take advantage of people in this industry. I've seen them call something network marketing that was nothing more than a scam. And everybody in all the bad press, that's what they grab a hold of, is those companies. But I'll tell you why I'm still in it, because the best people I've ever met in my life are in this industry. Yeah. The very best, not second best. You know, how many of you had to pay me over the last week or two for some private one-on-one coaching? How many of you paid for that? Don't see any hands raised, do you? Did I ever hint that I wanted anything from it? That's because that's how I received it. And people like Michael and Cliff and Manfred and all of the leaders here in this room, we're so dedicated to helping people succeed. And you know, it's just amazing to me when I hear $5 billion, it's actually probably now $6 billion or more. When I hear that, and especially when my friends and, you know, God forbid any of my teachers would ever hear that, they go, we were talking about the wrong David Colister here, for sure. It just kind of baffles me. And like Michael, I'm just a guy. I'm thinking, wow. But all these incredible mentors, they want you to get it. There are no secrets. In the corporate world, if you've got a trick, a technique, or a skill, you hide it. And if somebody else has one that you want, you steal it, right? And you call it yours. And there's all this one-upmanship and all this stuff. And in this business, for the most part, at least if you have a great company that's got great values like LifeForce does, the people in it really want you to make it. And they will tell you everything they know. They will hold nothing back. And the very worst that you will get out of this industry, especially this company, is you will become a better, more productive, and more prosperous person. I can't tell you how many people that have come to me years later. I remember this happened to me when I was probably 24. I got a call from a high school friend that I had recruited into a business, and he never made any money. And he called me up and he said, David, he was down in Florida, I was in Michigan. He said, David, I just have been really feeling like I owe you a phone call. I said, why is that, Todd? He said, well, I want to thank you. I said, what for, dude? He said, well, you know, I got involved with you in this other business, and I never made any money, which means I never made you any money. And he said, but I was listening, I was paying attention. And he said, I went down to Florida, and I got a job doing some landscaping, and he thought, you know, I can cut trees as good as anybody. And he said, I took those things that I learned from you and the mentors in your life, and I started a business. This kid was 24 years old. This is back in 1984, 85, something like that. He said, you know, David, last year I made a 6-figure income. I have a ton of employees working, a bunch of trucks. He said, and I promise you, I could never have done that had I not had access to you and the other people that were willing to mentor me. He said, so I'm sorry for not making you money in that business, but I want to thank you for helping me find my entrepreneurial footing. And it's really made a difference in my life. And this man's very successful today, nearly 30 years later. So that's the kind of business that LifeForce is. And you know, this industry is highly regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, by the SEC, by states attorneys general, and a host of other, the FDA, and a host of other industry watchdogs. And it's legal in every state, and if you do it right, it's one of the best businesses in the world. And the people that don't do it right, that do it wrong, they're found out and they're shut down. Just like any other company would be that takes advantage of people. So I'm happy to say that, you know, I found LifeForce, or they found me. I'll be honest with you, I lost a little bit of heart in the industry about 3 years ago. Because I just, you know, you help a company that you think is great, and the people have the best of intentions. Have any of you ever seen on the news or in the tabloids, heard a story about a person getting too much money, too much fame, too much power too soon? Mm-hmm. You know, think of that celebrity, that singer, that actor, whatever. Well, this industry has the potential to do that to some of the people that I work with. And I've watched some of these companies start out with great people that I thought had great motivations and great intentions. And man, when the money starts flowing and we start talking about $1 billion a year business from scratch, you think a little ego might go to their head? Britney Spears in her best day never produced $1 billion. In her best year never produced $1 billion. You know, you look at the Steven Spielbergs of the world, their movies may have produced $5 billion. Something like that. You know, and these cats start making that kind of money, and you see a lot of people go wrong. And I kind of lost heart. It's almost like I didn't know if I wanted to help some of these people get that kind of money, because they turned it around on the very people that got them there. And I got sick of it. And I kind of lost heart. I thought, well, I'll just go do executive coaching, or go play, or go have fun. There are a lot of things I can do to make money now. And then I got an email from Wayne Hillman, one of the 3 founders of this company. Wayne and Jerry are husband and wife, and their daughter Margie. They heard that I was available, and they sent me an email, and I had never heard of them before, but I just kind of felt inspired to go check them out. You know, I was in LA, they're in San Diego, 2.5-hour drive. I'll go down there and check them out. And what I met were some of the most wonderful people I'd met in this industry, and saw these beautiful facilities. And before I even got to meet any of the executives, I'm walking through this building going, this company was built to be a multi-billion-dollar company. I mean, they have really invested into infrastructure. And if you know anything about growth, if you don't have capacity for growth, and you hit growth, you'll put yourself out of business by just growing too fast. You know? So it reminds me of the Octomom. You know, too much growth too fast, and oh Lord, how was that staying in that womb, you know? Sorry, Octomom. But that's what happens to some of these companies. See, I never know where I'm going sitting here. God, you gotta keep a muzzle on this guy. You know what you should get me is one of those shock collars. And when you see me starting to go there, you press the button and I go, I think I'm not gonna say what I was just thinking. So maybe that would work. We'll have to work on that, you know. Maybe a shock wristband or something would be a little bit better. But you know, I've helped companies grow too fast and helped them grow right out of business. And you know, you got to have infrastructure. And so I saw this beautiful facility, and man, whoever started this company has a big vision. You know, because I've never heard of them, and I've heard of all the big ones, and I'd never heard of these guys before. Went in, and you know, you never really do know people. They always put on their best face, don't they? Everybody's trying to impress everybody, and you know, and I come in to unimpress them and see if they'll still hire me. And finally, when we get to the point where we're, shaking hands and signing the contract, I look my clients, usually it's the CEO or chairman or both, I look them straight in the eye and I say, before we do this, I want you to know there are 3 things I will never do for you. I will never lie for you. I will never cheat anyone for you. And I will never, ever flatter you. I know, by the way, I'm really opinionated. You will still want to hire me. And I tell you, if their bubble pops, if I see their face grimace, I'll say, thank you for your time, I'm out of here. Because I know I can't work with people that are going to ask me to do those things. And but still I wonder, because they have afterwards, when the money started flowing. What I liked about this company is they've been tested by the money. They've been around for 30 years. They started in 1984. I don't know how many of you remember the economy in 1984. We say we have a bad economy now. Man, that was tough back then. That was a hard economy. And they have thrived and survived all of these horrible economies. And they're still doing great today. And I'll tell you something I cannot say about any company I've ever worked with. And most of the ministries too. I'm not trying to pick on you folks, God. We're just being honest here. I have never heard Life Force ever, none of the executives ever say something that was untrue. I've never heard them say, let's say this and do this. Let's let them believe this and let's do this. They've never asked anybody at the table to lie. And after hundreds of executive meetings, you kind of get to know somebody. And they just genuinely want the very best for our people. That's what's made me want to stay at this company. And at some point I said, I put out a press release to the entire industry. And there's 91.5 million network marketers in the world. If you took the metropolitan area, not the city, metropolitan area and all the surrounding cities of Los Angeles, New York City, Nashville, Dallas, Houston, Chicago, and about a half a dozen other big cities in the United States, you still wouldn't even get close to 91.5 million people. And so I sent an email out to all, or a press release out to all these people and said, I am not available. I found my home, and I'm so happy to be here. Do not call me. I'm not interested. And so I put my money where my mouth is, and I'm banking my future on this company. And we have an incredible opportunity here. 2.5 years we've been working on the inside with the top leadership, some of the folks here, and the executive team to refashion our culture for fast growth. I believe if you have systems for fast growth, but you've got a horrible culture or a culture that's not mature enough, then all you're going to do is you're going to become Octomom and you're going to burst at the seams. However, if you have a healthy culture that matches your strategies and you can grow, then you'll be a healthy company. And that's kind of the place that I've landed. I won't do the growth thing first without doing the cultural work. I just refuse to do it anymore. So we have completed 2 years, Michael, of some, when you try shifting a 30-year-old culture, there's some shifting to do, right, culture?
Yes.
We got a good dose of it. We just spent, how long were we in Estes Park? A week. We just spent a week working on this stuff. Anybody tired from the cultural stretching? But we put the finishing touches on there, and you felt it shift, didn't you?
Yes.
And we did the same thing in the Australasian market. And the Australasian market blew up. Market just blew up. And now we're blowing up here, and game on. You want to find a company like this to prosper with, find a company that just hits its growth phase, its super growth phase. I'm telling you, everything is easier. Everything is more fun. Everything gives you more return for the same amount of effort if you catch a company at that stage. And it's going to be a fun ride. We've got the most incredible products. I travel. Somebody asked me where I live. I said nowhere. My address is in Hollywood. I travel a lot. Unfortunately, this thing weighs a lot, and I carry a carry-on suitcase in my computer bag. That's it. I can't travel with all this. I can't even take these boxes. I have to dump it out into my bag as neatly as I can because I don't have a lot of room. I'm putting suits and traveling for 2 and 3 weeks with just that one thing. And I have lost, I say 30 pounds. I haven't weighed myself in over 3 weeks. And 2-3 months ago, these pants that I had in my closet, I couldn't get them this far. They wouldn't even go over my legs. Look at this. You know, all of my clothes are hanging. I haven't had time to get to a place to get more clothes, and so I probably lost 35, maybe pushing 40 pounds now. Just from this. Didn't even have the opportunity to use the meal replacement shakes. I actually told the company, don't hate me, some of you don't know this, I actually told them, do not do a weight loss product. They asked me my advice, I told them what I thought. I've helped a couple companies sell a couple $2 billion worth of this stuff. And I said, look, most of the stuff out there is crap. It's junk. You can put sawdust in milk, put it in a blender, stir it up, and drink it, and guess what? You're going to lose weight. You know why? Because there's no nutrition in there. It's like eating stones. As soon as you pass the stones, you deprived yourself of food, you're going to lose weight, right, Cliff?
Yeah.
I said it's too expensive to put out a great product. The cost of ingredients is so high for the best nutrients. And unless you're going to do it great, and do an excellent job, and do it in a healthy way, I'm going to tell you, don't even bother, because I won't support it. Because a lot of my clients didn't do that. They got the cheapest ingredients, the junkiest stuff, and you see people losing weight, but they're malnourished, and their bodies and their health pay for it. They're starving, which slows down their metabolism, which ultimately is the biggest culprit to gaining weight. So they just get it all back. And I'll tell you what, you sat next to me. I ate that, like 1 or 2 of those little pasta tubes, what do they call that?
Manicotti.
Is that what it is?
Stuffed shells.
Stuffed shells. And I just, man, if I don't take this stuff, yesterday, ADD, I forgot to take it. I was going in the fridge, grabbing hot dogs, and looking for potato chips, and, where's my Pringles? My God, give me my Pringles. Well, I don't have any Pringles. What am I going to do? But but if I take this stuff, it's like my brain's working again. This stuff targets visceral fat. There's 2 types of fat. There's subcutaneous fat, the stuff under the skin. We have a certain amount of cells, those kinds of fat cells that we're born with. And when you die, unless you've lost body parts, you have the same amount of those cells. Why are you laughing? It's not funny. That was meant to be compelling and sad. And you're over there laughing about people missing body parts. So you have that kind of fat, and that's bad fat. That's the stuff when you pinch, you got some of that, right? You pinch an inch, you got too much. But there's this other kind of fat called visceral fat, and it is evil. It's not just passive. This stuff has a mind of its own. It literally attaches itself to the neurons of your vital organs, your liver, your kidney, your heart, your lungs. It gets around it, and it attaches itself to the neurons, sending signals directly to the brain, so that when I'm thirsty, if I have this, it doesn't work like that. But if I'm thirsty and I don't have something to override this, I'll go into the refrigerator. My brain really wants liquid, but what the signal is, the garbled signal coming from the stomach and the organs to the brain says, Reese's peanut butter cups is what you really need. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, why does this look so good? It literally sends false signals to your brain. And then it releases toxin. It converts other cells into visceral cells to propagate itself. And it takes over your organs. That's the stuff that leads to diabetes, heart disease, strokes, cancer. It's this visceral fat thing. And hardly anybody's talking about this stuff. This is the stuff that starvation will make go away. But that doesn't make the visceral fat go away. It's got the potential to promote itself straight from the source and tell the brain what to do with the chemicals in the body, and it's insidious. Its goal is to kill you, and it is killing people. And we don't talk about it because the only answer has been exercise. Hey, listen, at my peak, I stopped weighing myself. Now, this wasn't recently. I stopped weighing myself at 305 pounds because most of the scales say 280, and I get on it, and I'd have to add, and I hate adding. You know, it'd go 280, and then it'd go around. And I thought, oh, God, this is too embarrassing. You know, it was just not cool. And so, listen, you know, people are being destroyed by this visceral fat. This isn't just a vanity thing. This is death. This is a death sentence. And it's insidious, and nobody really knows what to do about it. And this stuff is designed to target all of the fat, but its key ingredients are designed to target the visceral fat. And this is a game changer. All I have to do is take 2 of these a day. This is all I've done. Now, I would encourage you to get the meal replacement shake to make sure you're getting good nutrition, and replacing a bad meal once a day, that will help you lose weight. But I put 2 of these little things in water, and I gotta tell you, I personally don't like the taste. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to say that, am I? What did I tell the companies I would never do for them? I don't like the taste. Some people love it. I don't like it. I watch people do this and they go, oh my God. But I tell you what, this stuff is going in my body every day unless I forget, and then I make up for it the next day. I will not live without this stuff. I don't care what I have to do. This stuff is going in this body. And it's changed my life. My family looks at me and they go, what are you doing? I said, 2 sticks of this a day. They're like, give me some. Okay. Ooh, they don't like it. But I tell you what, I don't care what. I hate onions. But if this had onion flavor, I'd eat it. I swear to God, I would find a way to choke this stuff. No, it's not that bad. But I'd rather tell you it's a lot worse than it is. You know, listen.
I love it.
And a lot of people do. I don't. I'm not going to tell you I like it when I don't. But this stuff will change people's lives. This is the hottest weight loss product in the world, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I've sold a ton of weight loss stuff. This stuff is a game changer. And we got this fast growth culture, this fast growth system, and you are about to watch this thing take over the industry, and everybody's going to try to copy us, and you'll notice that there's some patented stuff in here. So they're never going to be able to do it, and they're not going to have the caring culture to support it from the backside. So listen, I'm excited about this. If you've been praying for some way to prosper, if you've been looking and hoping for some way to get ahead in life, and you want a fun group of people to do it with and make work time your playtime and change your life, this Life Force is the answer. And I'd really encourage you just to look at it. And if you don't like it and it's not for you, perfect. If it is for you, perfect. Because you came at the right time with the right people in the right company. And I'll be happy to be your partner as we go sailing around the world, right, Jude? All right.